welcome to another episode of
the Modern Black Man Podcast.
It's the homie Doug. What's good, Doug?
Man, it's cool, man. It's good to be back, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm so blessed, man. I'm about to talk to you about how fortunate I am, talk to you about some things going on, and just glad to link with you, man. 2024. I'm not hoping for anything this year or not hoping for anything this year, but I can feel through the atmosphere this is going to be a hell of a year.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's a big change this year. I hope there's a lot of change. I hope there's I would say a significant change throughout the entire country, but, most specifically in the White House. I hope there's a change. I hope there's a change I hope there's a change in the NFL. I hope there's a change in the American heart for patriotism. I hope there's a change in the American.
When you say the NFL, what do you mean? A change?
Yeah, I get tired of ESPN trying to pretend they're CNN. You know what I mean? They it's like they can't just they can't just talk football, or they can't just talk NBA. They always gotta throw some shade on somebody else's life, or they always gotta pretend like we really care about their opinion on anything outside of sports, right?
You saw Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock.
Who?
Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock are beefing. Stephen A. Smith called Jason Whitlock fat POS
bastard.
He went in.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious, especially because it's like you absolutely knew who he was talking about. I thought it was funny, but I mean, like, people like Stephen A. is just like, like, you love to hear what he has to say in reference to sports, but it's just as soon as he creeps outside of sports, you just realize just how uneducated he actually is, right? Like, he's opinionated. He's not very educated.
I'm gonna leave Stephen A. alone, man. I'm gonna leave him alone.
Why? You scared of him? Tell him to call me.
Scared of him, man, I saw this man in a completely different light, because he's really beefing with Whitlock, and I don't think he realizes that they're the same person, that they're inevitably redundant, and black men shouldn't come at each other like this in a negative way. With that being said, as an experienced person who's beefed with many people, as a man who takes relationships seriously, I do see those problems. And you heard it here first. What you say, though?
Well, me personally, I don't see anybody as somebody that shouldn't be scolded if they're acting up, so to speak. Like, it'd be, I think it'd be, if you say that a black man shouldn't talk to another black man when they acting a fool, then a man shouldn't talk to their son when they acting a fool.
I don't. This is really what I feel. I feel as black men, the level of decorum is not necessarily raised, but it is imperative that it is understood, because the respect for all men in the world is conducted in the way that we appreciate one another. Let me run that back and be a little bit more elaborative. I don't like a lot of these fools, and I'm definitely going to be quick to disrespect you. I'm just saying that to undermine you, to undercut you, to backbite you is not in my blood, because I'm just smooth like that, man. I'm just G like that. And I feel bad for Stephen A. Smith, because he's really beefing with this guy, and he doesn't know how to do it in a real man's way. Maybe he can't come to this man, express himself to this man, and if they have a situation in that, let it be a situation that's handled in private. And that's what bothers me. Not because it was violent, not because it was scary, but because that probably was as confrontational as it gets for these gentlemen. He was apologizing to his mama and his sister, all kind of. It was wild. It was wild, man. I didn't like it.
People like Stephen A, man, they hide behind their network because they
Yes,
have a platform they didn't have to pay for, because he didn't have to pay for his platform. You know what I'm saying? Like that platform was given to him. He
he
wasn't
wanted to come
he
off like he was a real one, but he can't be a real one because he ain't a real one. Like I ain't like that because I think he felt like he was.
right. Ain't nobody walking around worried about Stephen A and what he might say off script. Like people want him to say something off script just so they can have a
But he
reason to
meant
press.
that though. He
But
mentioned that. He ain't
but
like that
but
dude.
I mean, people like the Whitlock dude. I mean, I would say at least he's based. Like at least he has a mindset that's based in reality.
You
Like
know you're
Stephen A.
Jason Whitlock, right?
Huh?
You know you're Jason Whitlock, the free thinker, the one that
Yeah,
knows
yeah, yeah.
everything, the maniacal one. Listen to
Absolutely.
this. Listen to this. He
Yeah, I'm suggesting when it comes to thinking, like
was
because I hate a person that talks based on other people's feelings. Like I don't care about your feelings. Like
yes.
because I mean you got to be a grown man about this at the end of the day. At the end of the
Listen
day, if
to
you
this one, Doug.
go
Jason
ahead.
Whitlock was he was supposed to run things for the Undefeated, which is black media for ESPN. He fired all of the black journalists and hired a white journalist to run the black journalism unit at ESPN. Just
I
that's
don't
a
see a
Doug
problem
move.
with that
I
because
know.
personally my problem is I don't know why you got a black journalist core. Like why see my whole thing is black people don't realize that we segregate ourselves and then we get mad at, at, at segregation. Like I mean imagine if you told that to Martin Luther King, do you really think he'd be like, wait, you mean to tell me that they have a problem with us segregating ourselves? Like imagine that. Imagine that. Like we literally segregate ourselves. Everything that every time I hear black
Wow.
this and black that, and it's segregated based on color. What you're doing is you're doing it for the actual racist. If there is such thing as a racist out there that's racist towards black people, you're doing them a favor by creating those atmospheres that's specific only towards your color, because your color means nothing
I
when it comes
respect
to.
that point. I don't know how much I agree with it, but I respect the mess out of it because it's factual, right? It's prudent.
Yeah, okay. So one of Martin Luther King's hallmark portions of his speech was, um, he dreams of a day where his children will not be judged by the
Content.
color of their skin, the color of their skin, but
Content.
by the content of their character, right? So, how do you make sense? Okay, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do the mental gymnastics for me, but how do you make sense of a black caucus if go ahead, make sense of that if you're not being judged by the color of your skin.
Well, the undefeated, as many of us appreciate, has blogs and they focus stories and journalism, not just on HBCUs, but on history, on triumph, on victory, champions. Communities can rally around the stories that are presented, and hopefully the representatives of this media core, of this journalistic unit, represent the community appropriately, but they don't, because nothing does in our society right now. I do a whole podcast about it. We talking about it right now.
So Stephen A is the type of person that like he loves to say my brother this and my brother
Yep.
that. You know what I'm saying? Like my main issue, like I said, is when it comes to creating that that false dichotomy of brotherhood based on pigmentation.
Is it a false dichotomy or is it race pandering? I think you're just saying it's race.
I would say it's both because of the simple fact that I mean for those that he don't like. I mean because obviously Whitlock ain't his brother, right?
He calls white boys brother too, though. He's like, that brother is amazing.
I didn't say white man. I said Whitlock. He
I
don't
didn't know
call
Whitlock was on
He
that.
called him a fat bastard.
Hold on. I didn't know Whitlock was on that. Whitlock ain't conscious. He ain't woke for nothing. I mean, Whitlock's a smart guy. I respect him, but he ain't
That's why I said he's based. I said he's based. I didn't say he was woke. I said he was based.
So Whitlock is like that. I didn't know. He's from Kansas City. I knew him when he was 20 years ago. But okay, I didn't think he was a real one like that. Like, to be honest, no disrespect.
So Stephen A. I wouldn't even say is woke. Stephen A. is the type of person that he everything he says is dependent on the network. So however the network is spinning things, that's just how he gonna spin it. Even on his own channel, like his own podcast, he say things that you know for a fact that no nigga would say in unmixed company. Yeah, like that.
Well, that's why you have to have your own. As an agent of media, I know the value of having your own, because it's not just shock value anymore. You can't get that. It's really meaning what you say, because you can't have a meaningful message if you don't mean it.
Right. But see, my whole thing is, and I want to allude back to your first question, is in reference to the NFL, because it even though it doesn't relate, I still want to talk about it, because as soon as my Cowboys get to the when they get to the
championship game,
the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to start talking about Dak and his color, and they're going to start talking about. Watch, how much you want to bet? I put any amount of money on it.
And Dak are the same color beige as Sherwin-Williams, nigga. Don't play with me. Ain't nobody gonna talk about that. Ain't nobody gonna worry about that.
I'm saying that ESPN is going to start talking about how or watch. If it's not him, then it's going to be old buddy from Baltimore. But what they're going to do is what they always do.
Lamar.
Is they have to create some narrative that has something to do with race. Like, they can't just deal with the fact that they're just good athletes. They have to be black athletes.
Is Doug Williams the last black? Steve McNair. Steve McNair is the last black quarterback I can really remember going to a Super Bowl. Like, Russell Wilson doesn't count. You're mixed, and you are who you are. Patrick Mahomes, you're mixed, and you are who you are, right?
You're saying that people that are mixed with more than one race aren't the color that you're saying.
Yes, because we're talking about colorism. And I just said it. Lamar Jackson counts. Doug Williams counts. Steve McNair counts. Obama doesn't count. Who can we talk about that is a quarterback?
So, I mean, that's cool. I mean,
no. I'm saying it's very colorist. I'm saying who made it to the Super Bowl. Just like we talk about it on the converse about these guys not making it to the Super Bowl. Lamar can't go because he's too dark. So who else?
Well, Lamar probably won't make it because Lamar will make it. He'll make it to the Super Bowl because there's nobody in his way besides Kansas City, and they're going to beat the brakes off of Kansas City.
Ooh, but you think so?
Oh yeah. I wouldn't say I'm absolutely sure, but I'm pretty confident that they'll beat the brakes off of Kansas City because Kansas City don't have an offense, and they definitely don't have a defense. So, like,
anybody from Kansas City will get this joke. The game is going to be like Rockhurst versus Central, but Hickman Mills quarterback's going to go off is what's going to happen. That's interesting. I don't know. I think that Lamar is that. I think he's him. LeBron James of the NFL, hands down, but it's scripted. Say it.
I didn't hear what you said about LeBron.
I said that he is the LeBron James of the NFL. Lamar Jackson, if he can stay healthy for 7 seasons.
I don't understand why people do that. Like, don't downplay the man's skill by comparing him to somebody that is the
MJ of his league. LeBron James is the MJ
of
basketball.
No, he's not.
I'm sorry. Michael Jordan was the LeBron James of his day. Is a better way of saying it?
No, Michael Jordan was the Michael Jordan of his day.
Okay, LeBron James, LeBron James in his day.
Yeah. I'll let him stay where he at because I don't like comparing people to shit
Sure,
bags. So I
sure.
won't compare him to nobody. But what I will say is LeBron James is the Stephen A of the NBA.
All right, man. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Okay, you win. That hurt a lot. That hurt a lot. Okay. Okay, you get points on that one. So as far as these leagues go, if it's a championship or bust season and it's not the Chiefs, that
So
means
you know
that the
that's
Dolphins
that's
win. You
Dallas for
think that
sure.
they could go all the way? You think they could beat
I
the
do think that
49ers?
Dallas can. I think that that's the only thing that's stopping them is the Niners. But I don't see them as I don't see it impossible to beat the Niners. I don't see it as impossible.
Dude, have you
I
stopped?
see
What? What is
I
wrong with
see it
you?
as
I'm very sober.
I see it as improbable. I don't see it as impossible.
You've changed. Okay. Good for you, man. Good for you.
What do you mean I've changed?
You're a
I've
lot
never
more
I've,
grounded.
I've never been
Because
the
if
kind of
this
person.
conversation would have been had a month, maybe 2, 3 months
I've
ago,
never
oh,
been
the
delusional.
49ers is going to do it. Ain't no chance. Like, it would have
You've
been
never
a chance.
heard me say that. You've never heard me say that. You ain't heard me say that since we lived in DC.
Man, if it was the Warriors up right now, you would be ridiculous. So I really see the growth. I respect the mess out of that, man. I appreciate that. But it's 2024 and people have decided what we're going to do this year. So as far as the presidential election goes and Hunter Biden and Joe, who do you think's going to be in the VIP next year?
So
Who do you think it's
so
going to
so
be?
okay. Allow me some leeway on this one, okay?
Yeah.
Because when it comes to the presidential election, I kind of feel like how I feel about Dallas going to the Super Bowl. Okay.
Oh my God. I
Now,
can't have
now
this
watch this.
conversation.
Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Check me out, and let me finish first before you jump in. Okay. Now, I have two hearts in this situation. On one hand, I would love Trump to be back in the presidential seat, and on the other hand, I would love for Vivek to be the new president. Now, if I couldn't have it if I had to have it the first way, which I think is more probable, rather than it being impossible for Vivek to come back or to be gaining in a poll some way, I don't think that's impossible. I think it's improbable that he will beat Trump in the election. But I also think that if he does not win, and by him I mean Vivek, I would love for him to be in the cabinet so that he can get some experience in politics, so he can be prepared for 28. Um, Bar
Wow.
none, I don't see the Democrats winning this year,
Shots fired. No, I mean that's cool. That's cool. But Vivek, you're all in all the way out to 2028. You're in for Vivek
though. And
Ramaswamy.
I say the reason I am is because he's the only one that is in any race that, with the exception of Trump in most cases, that I believe I can trust what comes out of his mouth.
Like slaves had it good.
That's not what he said, but he yeah. See, that's what bothers
You're
me about
prepared. You're prepared,
what
bro.
bothers
That's
me
all
about
that
Democrats.
matters.
Because this
That's
is
all that
this is my
matters.
problem with people. This is my problem with people that watch CNN. When you watch CNN, you don't mind not being educated. You don't mind. You have no problem. You have no problem with being lied to, because that's not what he said at all. That's not what he said at all.
I agree.
And
And look at
actually,
who he was arguing with is what made it almost worse because I hate when people try to say that people are plants, right? But it was interesting because that I had to do my research and go back and see what these guys were arguing about. And when I discovered what it was, I was pretty unbothered because it was nothing. But it was a blemish. So I think that's just a higher political play. I think
Think
I get
about it
your
this way.
point.
Think about it this way. The easiest base to pander to is the base, and the reason for that is because of what I just said. You have no problem being lied to. You have no problem as long as it keeps you emotional. If it keeps you emotional, you'll roll with it. And I think that's ridiculous that we have no problem saying, you know what, let me watch every network and find out who's saying what and who's lying. It's just not that hard to find out who's
Do you
lying
think
because
black
because
people don't combat that because they don't want to confront it by acknowledging it, or they don't combat that because it's confronting an embarrassing emotional attachment to idiocy? I don't know. Like,
well, I think of it this way. I think of it this way. Okay, so you and I are having this conversation, right?
mm-hmm,
Me and you having this conversation is but isn't necessarily equivalent to Fox News versus
mm.
my or a just a
MSNBC.
podcast, just some random podcaster, right? So a random podcaster would be having this conversation, and the only people that hear their point of view or see the full clip that they decided to show are the people that normally see it on their YouTube, right? Like, so what I mean by that is, you know, if what I mean by that is if there's a specific person that's on my YouTube that I watch a lot, then they're going to always be on my, you know, on that home page, right? But I'm not going to I'll never see CNN's point of view because I never watch CNN. Now that may be an indictment against me, but it's not that hard to watch CNN if you watch some people that you know have no dog in the race, right? So if I don't have, I mean, the people I watch don't have a dog in the race. They may have an opinion, but they don't have a dog in the race. So since they don't have a dog in the race, you get to watch the entire speech, or you get to watch the entire conversation, and then you're able to piece together pieces of the puzzle that CNN or Fox decided not to let
I
anybody view.
agree if you're saying CNN is the partyless network because we know where Fox News and MSNBC lie.
Wait. Let me start. Let me make sure I heard you say that. It sounded like you just said that CNN is the partyless network.
They're not partyless, but they're less adjacent than Fox
You know
News to
you
their
know
party.
how that's ridiculous. I mean, I love you, so I will try not to say anything, you know, ridiculously
Roast
slanderous
my
about that.
ass.
But
Roast me,
it
bro.
is a
Because I'm
doggone
telling
shame.
you, CNN has more Democrats than Fox News. I would concede that. But I think
They
they're
don't have any
closer.
Republicans in CNN.
Hmm.
None.
You feel that way. Okay, that's cool.
I know they don't.
Okay.
And I know one other thing. I guarantee you, if you go back 8 years, right, or
Mm-hmm.
go back 4 years, and just watch the political. I not say political, but watch their channel based on the elections, and you decide for yourself if they were trying to give the Republican Party a fair shot.
I don't. Okay. 8 years ago, you didn't forget. Okay. Yeah, that's true. I think
I mean, you could go back 8 or 4 years. You decide. You
when Trump
make the decision.
decided to run, they got his ass. When he tried to go for re-election, I think that they were much kinder than they were the first time. And I'll end my thought on that.
Okay, so if you put it like this, if you call a white person racist in 2014 or 2024, there's no big difference. There's no
Yeah,
big difference. You
yeah,
call a
there is.
if you call a white person racist, they're going to get canceled.
No, that's not true.
Yeah. One. Okay. Prove me wrong. Give me an example of somebody that we call racist that we didn't gang up on.
Joe Biden? There's so many. Gary Owen, like it would be endless. Seriously,
See, that's what I'm saying. You're talking about people that you call racist. I'm talking about people that
racism
the
is just
networks call
subjective.
racist. I'm talking about the people that the
Ooh.
networks call racist.
I could never find that because the network, they didn't see Glenn Beck as racist. They never saw
Who?
O'Reilly as racist.
He wasn't.
Okay.
O'Reilly wasn't racist. O'Reilly was opinionated. And
Rush
the
Limbaugh
problem,
wasn't
my
racist
biggest
either.
problem with you is you have a problem with white people telling the truth about black people.
How? Where do you find this? Where do you find it?
O'Reilly said that the biggest problem with the black community is the inner city. Where's the lie in that?
Ouch. Fuck you guys.
Where's the lie in that?
Okay.
You tell me where the lie is. Okay,
I'm just saying though, but some
now,
people,
around that
the
same time,
product that you demean
Biden
when they
said that.
live long enough to point fingers back at you, and it's sad that they can acknowledge the truth in these statements, but being able to acknowledge the truth is the antidote for the poison of the day. Poison.
No, you're not gonna catch me with that one. I'm not gonna see. That's the one thing you know that I don't watch, I don't listen to rap. So since I don't listen to rap,
It's
things
not rap. That was just a
rhyming
lucid
don't work.
thought.
Rhyming
That was
don't
just a
matter to
lucid
me.
thought. I'm saying that you can't hate all the young Negroes because they live. I made it past 25, and you know what? The berry got sweeter, and the mind it got sharper. And I'm saying that it is very true. The scourge of our young people is what happens in certain environments. We can label them however we want to, but I think you and I have a commonality in this where we can see where our young men are misled in all seriousness. And the remedy is very simple. It is interaction. It is brotherhood, if you want to call it that. It's dealing with these damn kids now before they move to the next stage of society and in life. And
Let
we've
me give
lost that passion.
let me give you an example of something that didn't have nothing to do with race that your network made racial.
Okay.
Watch this. Now watch this. In San Francisco, there is a Safeway that's the Safeway has decided is not doing us any good as a business because it keeps getting robbed. And since it keeps getting robbed, we're not making any money, right? But when they did the interview, they said that the only reason why we're thinking about closing is because it's not making any money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Left leaning networks decided to take that story and say that Safeway is being racist towards the inner cities because they're taking away grocery stores out of the inner cities. Rather than saying there's a problem with the politics that go on and say in San Francisco, like defunding the police that take the security away from people that live in San Francisco, which would by product would be a byproduct for the safety of going shopping without worrying about your grocery store getting robbed on a daily basis. We're
Bipartisan consumers are your constituency.
so
Yes.
check this out. So I live in Alaska. So since I live in Alaska, there's we definitely aren't the norm. You don't normally see black people, but you see it's a lot because it's a small place, right?
Yeah.
Um, what I mean when I say that this state has always been Republican state.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say that? What's that have to do with anything? Well, fact of the matter is, people don't loot their own their own grocery stores in Republican states. Not because they're scared of the police, it's just that they have a presence. They're around. So since it's not that hard for police to get to you, they're not 40 minutes away like they are in San Francisco. I'm not going to waste my time trying to steal something and spend 5 days in jail for something where I can just find somebody that can loan me $5 real quick. Okay, so what I'm saying is these networks love to try to make things racial. And what they said was is they're taking money, they're taking food off of the old black. This was NAACP said because they had to involve themselves. um, they're taking food off of the old black people's plates, and I'm like, were you thinking about them when you was talking about defunding the police? Because if they had police in that city, that's the last thing they would have to worry about. They don't have to worry about stuff getting robbed if there's a police presence.
I
Now you
can't
may say,
put an answer on that. Something's changing about law enforcement. I don't know if the problem is that it's decentralized the way it is. Every municipality is doing their wrong policy or what, but there's something there. So I think that's all good points. I have to concede, but security for the people isn't the same. People rob, loot, and commit crime differently now. I just remember a time when you could get away with it. Now you have to be like
what do you mean
crazy,
you remember a
crazy.
time? That was today.
I'm saying people, it's harder to get away with crime now, but the crimes that people get
That's
away
what I'm
with,
saying. Like, I don't know where you get this stuff. Where do you get that? There was a jury store that four dudes had that literally ran up in the store, and because the owner of the store pulled out his gun, they all ran away. They got in a car that was reported stolen and that was actually viewed on camera, so they know the license plate, and nobody was arrested.
right?
Nobody's even brought to question. Okay, so and then okay, so I mean, we could talk about all of the things that's happened to 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 the Nike shoe store in the past 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's been arrested. What do you mean there was an easier time to steal? There's never been an easier time to steal than right now. If I wanted to steal, if I'm dead serious, if I was really pressed to find some food, I would move to California right now and just live near any food for less.
Yeah,
Because they're not going to arrest you.
I know. I don't like that. That's scary. Um, that's why decisions have been made the way that they've been made up to this point, probably for all of our families, choosing Republican states.
Watch. You just watch. Okay, so if you pay attention to anything outside of, like I said, your normal viewing process, if you pay attention to what black people are saying on actual, like, okay, matter of fact, I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link of just black people being interviewed by newscasters lately, right? I guarantee you're going to hear things that you never expected to come out of black people's mouths. Like, they are fed up with the Democratic Party. Like, black people, the actual black taxpayers are so fed up with the Democratic Party. It is ridiculous.
Black
And
families were like this in the 90s in St. Louis. So, I mean, I think that I get it because it's really going on. Like, crack is the only thing I think that I've seen cripple the black community. Uh, like, I'm not drawing comparisons or being dismissive or minimizing slavery in any way, but what that short period of time did to black people, black culture, hopefully is never rivaled again. Like, I think that was a big deal. I think in history we should really look back at what precipitated this crisis. But yeah, man, I don't disagree with you at all. I think the community is everything. I think that it's all about how we interact with people. It's all about the information that we give to each other. It's all about the respect that we have for each other. And my nightmare is living in a community like Southern California right now, where there is no law, or even mid California. That's still NorCal, isn't it? San Fran. They're not prosecuting anywhere in California, but I
check
don't know.
this out. Check this out. If you think that slavery ended, then you're mistaken.
There's more slaves now than ever.
I'm not talking about cracking the whip type of slavery. I'm talking about the actual plantation that black people are
Mm.
still on. We're, Black people are still technically on plantations. They just are unaware of it because they love their plantation now. They've gotten to the point where they
More.
love their plantation. And And from what like I said, the videos I'm going to send you of those black people that are jumping up, upset, they're having their Juneteenth right now.
Mm.
I guarantee you, there is a overabundance of black faces that have come to the realization that they have been. It's not just pandering at this point.
Mm.
It is literal. It is literal uh, um, brainwashing. Literal brainwashing.
Indoctrination for the cause of what?
Say that one more time.
Indoctrination for the cause of what? Pure ignorance to keep us blind.
No. For the no. It has. I mean, there's plenty of brilliant people that's on this plantation I'm talking about. The whole purpose of this plantation is to one day lead us. And I mean, it's a sad shame that I'm gonna have to say this out loud, but it's to finally get us to the new world order. But in order to get us to the new world order, the Democratic Party has to stay in charge.
We need an episode for this. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about how we're gonna get to the new world order. I want to figure this out. That's very intriguing, and I think this might be a good segue for us to come back. That is interesting. When are we gonna do it? When are we gonna get together and talk about this? Tuesday.
What date is Tuesday?
7th? I don't know what day it is. I'd have to look at a calendar. Let me. 16th.
16th. Uh, yeah, late afternoon. We could do it.
All right, we're gonna come back. I want to hear about this new world order, because I do think that, in my experience, there's too many people that are in the darkness. There's too many people that are uninformed, and I literally just had a great conversation with a professor from Iran, and we were laughing and joking and playing, talking about how young people have access to more information now than ever, yet they don't know anything. How is this possible? There's
Because they get all the information in a 30-second bite.
Yeah.
And they draw their conclusions based on whatever they heard in that small amount of time. See,
Biggie and Tupac is the same as slavery, like their acclamation.
Well, there's plenty of things that I'm conservative about, and there's some things that I'm liberal about, right?
Mm.
So the problem is if you don't have a reason to jump back and forth like that, then you'll just go with whatever your norms is. And if your norms come from Twitter, then I'm sorry, you're just a dumb person. You're just a dumb person. If that's where your norms come from, I'll challenge anybody that is an avid Twitter user to debate me on any topic.
I'll tell you this. I hope Twitter users hear this. People on Twitter are pussy. They don't want to talk. They can't have the conversation, and that's the only difference on that platform. Really, truly.
They don't live in a real world. They don't live in a real world.
Yeah.
Everything, yeah, it's not a real world for them.
Yeah.
And it's safe. It's safe for them to say what they want from where they are. But see, me, I'm the type of person that I will blurt out my address in the process of talking to anybody. Because, I mean, we can take it there if you want to take it there.
But that's a good. It's exactly that. It's the personality of X. The people on that platform just want to see everything. They want to be entertained. There's no skin in the game, and you can't be foolish enough to feel as if they are invested. That's why I really kind of gone in on the platform a little bit more, because the thinking doesn't go on, and I like that. It's disgusting as well. There's too much pornography.
Yeah, Elon Musk is. I mean, he's a brilliant man, but
He is.
His thought process is terribly flawed. If he really thinks that his platform practices free speech, because it's not practicing free frame of thought. If everything that you allow to be on there it is actually a lie. because I can guarantee you, I mean, see, here's the problem with our frame of thought when it comes to our Constitution. Because if I say that I allow a person to say whatever they want to say, that's one thing. It's another thing to allow somebody to lie to another person, and I'm not able to retort. And you can't retort if the kids have a if they have a specific well, I really can never think of the word that they use, but essentially it's the the same thing that they watch over and over and over again, and without watching the same video. They're watching the same people, they're listening to the same voices. Their algorithm their algorithm is so specific, so they retain their dumbness. And that I don't know if that's
Ooh,
freedom. I don't know if that's freedom. I don't know if that's a practice of freedom of speech. If you're forcing somebody to retain their stupidity by only allowing them to see one side of a story because that's what they normally watch. Like bottom line, like when I watch YouTube, there's plenty of times where I'll see something from some network that I know for a fact is going to lie to me, but I'll
mm.
listen to them. I'll watch it, and then I'll go listen to, like, say a conservative bystander about the same story, so I can find out what I missed. You see what I'm saying?
That's what most people do with their news now. They go to their tribe and
Yeah.
their leadership to fact check it. And I think that's okay. My problem is the echo chambers that we create with all this isolation. And themodernblackman.com, people may not realize this. Not only am I a brilliant journalist, writer, investigator, and creative mind, actor, and more, the articles that I write are tailored for anybody to just pick them up and be informed. And that's what this whole thing is about. Because I love getting on social media because people are dumb. Doug, I'm on social media a lot, and the conversation is what is ruining lives. These young people don't like talking, they don't like words, and they struggle with their words. So it's a really fun time for me to be alive because they have disabilities, and instead of just accepting it, they lash out at those with experience, right? Those of us that were alive in a time before the internet when you had to talk and speak.
Right.
So I'm loving times right now because they can't figure people out because they want to create an analog world. Um, or I'm sorry, they want to create a digital world with analog bodies. So I'm loving it, man. Get with me Tuesday, and I want to talk about this new world order. Before we break, I kind of promoted what I'm working on. I got a lot of podcast episodes as well. If anybody listens to the podcast, I've put a real emphasis on having a strong monologue season, and that's what season 9 is. I think I might do a couple interviews with some other people, but I've been releasing a lot of content, a lot of different content, and creating it specifically for Spotify. So listen to those episodes because it's a lot of knowledge, it's a lot of love, wisdom to be gained. Um, that's all I really have. I'm on the platform X, and I'm probably going to get a little bit more active in Instagram once spring comes. What's up with you?
Not nothing much, man. Just living life, man. Continuing to humble myself to the Lord, and
Amen.
treat my family like it's all I got.
You sound like a rich man.
Oh well, I mean, I'm about the wealthiest man I know.
Well, I appreciate you making the time, and I can't wait till this next conversation. Until then, peace.